Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here today. Today, we're going to talk about something that is reshaping everything we know. Not about business, but also about work, creativity, competition, and leadership. This is not a presentation about tools, although I know people love tools and I love AI tools as well. But the thing with tools is that they change every week. Today's presentation is going to be about thinking, about how you, your team, and your organization can gain an unfair advantage in a world where AI accelerates the people who embrace it and exposes the ones who don't. By the end of today's presentation, I want you to live with clarity and confidence and a new lens through which you can navigate the next decade of your business, not from panic, but from power. So let's begin. I always like to start with context, and this is not from ego, but just for alignment. Everything I'll share with you comes from doing. From the last decade of helping startups myself, I've been helping them grow from zero to millions. I've been advising founders, I've been training teams, and I've also been building companies myself. But today, I'm not here as an academic voice. I am here as someone who has been in the trenches, building, breaking, rebuilding, optimizing, and speeding up companies through technology. AI is, for me, is not something I just observe. It is something I deploy. And this is the perspective I want to share with you today. Let's start with a grounding truth that every time technology makes us smarter, the world panics. It happened with electricity, it happened with the internet, it happened with mobile phones, it happened with cloud. We panic, we adapt, we forget, and suddenly it's normal. So, right now, we are somewhere between panic and adaptation. And if you can move faster than everyone else through that emotional curve, you gain a monumental competitive advantage. So I am here to take you out of panic and into power. So on your screen, you can see a screenshot of a simple fictional street interview. Actually, if I clicked on that, you would actually hear the people talking, and it actually looks very, very realistic. Right under the screenshot, you can see 3 lines, not even full lines, of the prompt that we used to create that. Just 3 lines long, and what it created is a video that looks like a real production, very realistic. So that's a very impressive result. I'm pretty sure that if you have tried things yourself, you have been impressed with the power of AI today, especially when it comes to creating videos and content. But how were we able to go from just 3 lines of prompting to an actual realistic looking video? It wasn't the better ideas that we had. It wasn't anything out of the box, just a simple video. Or it wasn't the people, it wasn't the team that was special. Actually, it was ourselves using an AI tool. But what enables us to do to have a successful result compared to other people who have tried that and they say, "Oh, AI doesn't work. The results are not yet great," is a better architecture of thinking. And this is where AI mastery comes to play. AI mastery is not one skill; it's a combination of 5 skills. It's knowing your tools, speaking the language of prompting. It's getting technically fearless. So people who are afraid of technology will never be able to use the full power of AI. It's becoming creatively strategic and building content that is always ready to be deployed. So think of AI mastery like having a superpower, um, and a superpower that others don't have. So most people are testing the waters right now. They're testing tools, they're watching tutorials, they're watching videos. But mastery is something different than that, because mastery is when AI becomes a part of how you think and not just something you use. When your organization builds this capability, you stop playing catch up and start building momentum, because this is where your operations begin shifting from manual to intelligent. So let me walk you through what this chart actually represents, because it's one of the most important ideas in the entire presentation. On the left, we start with a basic integration. This is where most companies are today. They're using AI assistants, they're experimenting with automation, maybe improving their marketing or content workflows. That's the Team A territory. The AI systems, the media innovation, and lightweight adoption. The line here, if you see, it's pretty calm, pretty straight, right? And that's because the impact, it is real, but yet still manageable. Then as we move closer to the center, we enter Team B. This is the developer velocity and AI infrastructure. Now, this is where things get more intense, the line starts vibrating, and this is because this is where organizations begin moving faster, connecting systems, building internal tools, and really changing the way work gets done. This middle space is messy, iterative, and incredibly powerful. Then we reach the final stage, which is the full autonomy. This is where Team C lives, and this is the autonomous AI agents. This is where AI doesn't just assist, it starts acting, coordinating, executing tasks on its own. The vibration here becomes chaotic, and this is not by chance. This is because the system becomes dynamic, adaptive, and far more complex than the simple automation. And on the far right in the box, this is what really matters. This is when you are ready for the unknown future. Because the truth is, no one can predict the exact timeline of AI progression. We've been amazed so far. Like, would know where we would be today a year ago? Not even us, who were dealing with AI every day, could not imagine how fast it changes. But organizations that build across all the three tracks, so from assistance to infrastructure and autonomous agents, uh, they position themselves to navigate whatever comes in the future. So this is essentially a roadmap. The goal here is not perfection. The goal is readiness. So to talk about it in a little bit more detail, Team A represents something every modern company needs, an intelligent creative engine. This team will explore tools for video, audio, content creation, media automation, and AI workflows in general. This team operates in the last mile, as we call it, where ideas become assets very fast. The reason why this matters is because content isn't optional anymore. Content is the currency of attention, as we call it, and today we live in the attention economy, as we know. So AI doesn't replace creativity, but as we all know by now, the goal is to use AI to accelerate the creativity. And this can happen only if you are structured like a system. Team B here is embodies what AI truly unlocks, which is speed. So 5-day builds that used to take 5 months, now that's possible. We've been doing that for the last months, and we're very happy with the results we have. Products that previously needed a developer team can now be built by 3 people and AI. So speed is not just about moving fast just for the sake of it. I know we're all obsessing over speed, which is very, very important. But let's not forget that speed is also about being competitive, because the market rewards the companies that iterate faster than the rest. So that's something that we need to keep in mind, especially when we're talking about growth marketing and growth hacking. And Team C is where the future becomes reality. This is not about AI assistants alone or chatbots, but really autonomous agents, which are systems that can manage workflows, campaigns, content, analytics, and even all the creative operations. And they can do it without the human intervention. So imagine giving 40 extra high performing team members and having them you like working for you, not theoretically but practically. So these may sound impressive and something of the future, but this is not the future, because this is actually happening right now. So it is something that companies have. So let's talk about the AI first mindset. Becoming an AI first organization doesn't mean adding AI on top of everything that you're already doing, or you don't even have to be an AI first company. But having an AI first mindset will help you redesign how you operate, how you collect data, how you make decisions, how you communicate your decisions, and how you create. So being AI first is not really a technology shift, even though technology is involved, but it's actually a mindset shift. It's asking, if intelligence were unlimited and free, how would you rebuild this process, or all your processes for that matter? This is one of the most important truths of AI. If you're a senior, 80% of AI outputs will look generic or wrong to you. If you're a junior, then 80% of AI output will look amazing. Why? Because AI will never replace expertise. It actually exposes the lack of expertise. And this creates a new leadership responsibility. Leaders today must learn to teach teams how to think and not just to execute, because this is the beginning of all the problems we've been seeing the last year. Wrong results, hallucinations, and this is a chain of mistakes that happen throughout teams. So leadership is changing in that aspect as well. So let's do some myth busting. First of all, what is important to know is that before AI, we had thinking and executing. We were thinking, and then the most of our time was spent on execution. After AI, people believe that, oh, great, now we have AI, we can do everything faster, so we can execute less, which is the wrong approach. Actually, the new reality is we have to think more, because now we have to manage this great, powerful machine. And then through waving and chaining, we go to execution. Waving and chaining is actually how you turn AI from a tool into an actual engine. So waving is about breaking work into intelligent steps, and chaining is about connecting those steps so each one improves the next. So if we're talking about ChatGPT, to give you a very simple example, the wrong way to go about it is to ask it, create one blog post for me and give the subject line. The correct way to go about it is give the keyword research, give the framework of how you want it to be written. Then it gives you a result. Then you go back to it and you discuss with ChatGPT in a way. So you give 10 prompts until you get to the final result. This is a description of waving and chaining. This also, needs the execution part, because you heard me saying 10 prompts, right? So there is a human involved. But the good thing about it is this is how you multiply the results. You get 20x the results. Whereas if you just give it, you become lazy with AI. Yes, you can get more results, but let's say you can just double them and not do a transformational kind of work, which is the goal at the end of the day. So, the misconception here, if we just describe it in one sentence, is AI doing the thinking. This is not what we want AI to do. AI should never think for you. It should think with you. Why? Because AI doesn't have any judgment. Um, so if you delegate the strategy and the thinking to AI, you lose that advantage that you have. So you need to guide AI with clarity and constraints and unlock extraordinary performance in that sense. Again, I touched upon that before when I talked about the execution part. There is this very big misconception that AI is about doing less work. But AI is not about doing less. This slide shows how we started from one blog post, and from this blog post, we created a video, like an avatar explaining about it, a podcast, out of one piece of content. Um, so if you refocus your energy on the activities that can produce the value of this initial piece of content, then you go and multiply the effect of that initial valuable piece. So in every business, there are two categories of work: the work that moves the needle and the work that fills your time. So AI will eliminate the second so you can fully invest in the first. The third big misconception is that theory doesn't matter. Is one of the biggest dangers right now is that AI can replace foundational thinking. Uh, but AI cannot replace understanding. It cannot replace being able to create a good strategy. And that always comes with the foundational knowledge. Your studies, for example, yourself reading and consuming valuable content yourself to train your brain. And actually, what's also very important, it cannot replace context. You are the decision maker. You know what is important in terms of context when you are creating something with AI. So if you don't understand the principles of marketing, communication, positioning, or even psychology of the consumer, AI will only help you make mistakes faster. So if your strategy is wrong and misinformed, great, AI will make it even worse. So don't go there, right? You don't want to do that. The fourth big misconception is that tools matter most. People obsess over tools. I said that in the beginning. I love AI tools as well. They have really transformed the way that we do our business. But tools will not make the difference, because at the end of the day, marketing is about competition and everyone has access to the same tools. Same as being having Photoshop doesn't make you a designer or a photographer. It's just a tool to enable you to do your job better or actually do your job, but you will have the initial ideas. It's the same with AI. What separates every average company that we see and from the great ones is the way that you use those tools. The excellence that we want to reach comes from systems, processes, clarity, and creativity. And it doesn't come from having the latest app or the latest tool. And finally, the fifth big misconception about AI is that AI exists to answer our questions. And this is how mainly people use it. But the real value with AI is that it's helping you to ask better questions. The quality of your prompt reveals the quality of your thinking. So prompts are not instructions, they are strategic briefs. Look at it like that. So, AI is not a vending machine, it is a collaborator. If you refine your ideas, expand your reasoning, challenge your assumptions, and provide ChatGPT with new angles that only you can think of, then you invite it into your thinking. You don't only ask AI to do your tasks. So here's a prompt generator framework, as we call it, and it's the foundation of becoming a powerful AI thinker. So if you read through this prompt, it starts with the rough idea. So we give context to ChatGPT, for example. Then AI will refine it, you iterate, AI will improve it, you clarify, and then AI will expand it. So prompting is not writing, it is designing the end result. And this process will help you build prompts that are clear, strategic, and effective, which is the most important thing. So never forget that the goal is to add heart and value. So heart, emotion, and value to your prompt. Because most outputs lack humanity, right? ChatGPT or any other AI tool is not a human, so it makes sense that they lack humanity. This is where you come to play. You are the human, so you need to add the missing emotion. And also, uh, AI will produce the structure, but you need to provide the tone, the values, the voice, the emotional resonance. And when you combine the value with emotion, this is where the magic happens, and you get analytical clarity that AI does a better job for from compared to many humans, but it also has emotional depth because you made it happen. Now we go deeper and we go into the macro forces that shape AI's trajectory. Because AI is not a technological change, it's an economic change, regulatory change, infrastructural change, and the winners will be the companies that understand these forces and position themselves accordingly. So these five factors are the ones that determine the next phase of AI adoption in our view. First of all, as everything, the clear ROI, so return over investment. And this is when leaders get measurable results and not just the hype of using AI. The second is reducing hallucinations. This has been an issue because some people don't even know that about hallucinations. So that's important. Knowing about them is the first step. Then the second step is reducing them, because reliability when it comes to AI is critical. If we cannot rely on AI results, then we will not be using it as much as we should or we can. The third part is about regulation. This changes all the time. It becomes stricter, then it relaxes. But this is going to be determining how we use AI, because we have to operate under the regulations from governments. We have infrastructure, so we need cheaper alternatives to accelerate innovation. And then scalability. We've been doing pilot projects, all of us, and we will be accelerating those to becoming real systems. And this is the next phase. So we can say that AI is entering an industrial phase, right? So it's very exciting. I don't know about you, but I'm very excited for what 2026 has to bring. And if we're talking about AI acceleration, usually AI is accelerating in four dimensions. It's the tools, the models, the features, and the paradigms, the new examples of how of results it can create. So every quarter brings new capabilities. We've been observing that. And your competitive advantage comes from recognizing these patterns, but not chasing the trends. Chasing the trends without knowing, being able to analyze what has changed will not be of help to you. AI collapses the content supply chain. From research, analysis, and creation are all compressed into minutes of work. The bottleneck is no longer production, it is original thinking, and your content is only as strong as your ideas. So, for example, we have the rule 1, 2, 3 from input to output, but not output, but output multiplier, as we call it. So, one thoughtful input now produces multiple assets. As I showed you before, for one blog post, we got a video, a podcast, a webinar, multiple types of assets. What other things you can do from one blog post? You can do social media captions, a carousel, an email, a landing page. This is real scale because you only need to do the first type, the first input, but this needs to be very valuable, right? Otherwise, everything will be worthless. It's not about quantity. Prompts are the new business briefs. A good prompt is not just descriptive, it is decisive. It includes the constraints needed, right? You need to give constraints. If you don't give constraints, then AI will do whatever AI wants to do. You have to give it the tone. You have to give it the audience to understand, again, AI doesn't have context. You need to make sure it has the context. You need to give it structure and the purpose. So the better you brief AI, the better the information you give, the better the output. Let's talk about the content framework. The content framework can look like that. Remember, this is a very known type of framework where you build all the information. But this framework, as we have built it, and you can actually request it, go to the website at GrowthRocks and actually download the real thing, shows you how your expertise can become a scalable engine. Is a very quick and easy way to do that. Your knowledge goes into the system and AI will transform it into content, into insights, into assets, deliverables. So let's see what we have: the inputs, we have the tools, and the outputs, and this is how it looks when it's filled with information, right? And now we get to tools. Some people's favorite subject, as I have observed. So we will not focus on tools, as I promised in the beginning of this presentation, because again, tools change every day, but today's presentation is about the mindset. I'm just going to very quickly scroll through the tools. So for example, the generic tools, we have specialized voice tools, we have meeting assistants, we have transcription, image AI tools, typography and logo creation, we have music, we have video editing, we have video generation, we have tools for researching. So the reason why I don't spend more time on these slides is that I wanted to show you that there's an overwhelming number of tools that now exist. And the important lesson from this quick walkthrough is that tools don't create the leverage, systems do. You can pick your tools, you can try new tools or go with the well-known ones, and that would be great for you, but just be mindful that these may change in the future. So you don't have to spend time or like knowing the correct tools it is important, but let's say you have, like, everyone can access, what do you do with them after that? We even have tools for research. This is one of my favorite subjects, like AI becoming your research department, extracting insights, synthesizing information, comparing sources, and everything done in a few minutes. And knowledge workers will see this as the biggest productivity transformation. As a strategist, I see that as well. The AI assistants, which I talked about, there is the evolution already, and it's going to be very transformational. because we have the three stages that define how these AI assistants integrate into our lives now, into our working lives. We have the assistants that execute the stuff, the tasks. We have concierge that anticipates the needs that we may have, and then we have the agent that operates on its own without needing any human intervention. And the thing with companies is that they are usually stuck at stage one. They're just using AI assistants. But the competitive advantage is going to be progressing to stage two and finally stage three. So let's zoom out for a moment and talk about this journey that every organization takes when adopting AI, because AI transformation doesn't happen in one leap. It happens in levels. You see, we have different steps. Each step, each level unlocks a new degree of impact, a new degree of efficiency and intelligence. This staircase represents the maturity curve of AI-driven companies. So at level one, we have the adoption of tools. This is a very foundational level. Companies are simply using the AI tools like ChatGPT, Midjourney, and other tools that like Copilot, whatever each company is using. And this is where most companies are at the moment. And this level is very important because we say most companies that use AI are at this level. We also have companies that do not use AI at all yet. They're not ready. They don't feel confident to add it in the processes, so they don't. But let me be honest here, this level will not create competitive advantage because, again, everyone has access to the same tools. If they want to, they can use them. What matters at this stage is exposure. So companies should let their people experiment within certain rules, company rules. Safety is important, private data privacy is important, ethical use is super important. But within those constraints that companies should create for their people, they should let people experiment, learn the language of prompting, and lose their fear. Then we get to level two, which is about customizing tool, training the AI models. This is where we begin to see the real shift. This is where companies stop using AI as it is, and they start customizing it to fill their needs. They feed it with their own data, their own processes, their own tone, their own examples. And this is the difference between AI that works for everyone and AI that works specifically for you and your company. When you train the models on your documentation, your product, your knowledge base, your brand voice, AI stops being this generic thing that gives us mediocre results and becomes your own superpower. This level is where the real competitiveness starts to appear. And then we get to level three, which is about implementation. It's actually systemization, as we like to call it. This is where companies stop treating AI as a tool for individuals and they integrate it into the operational processes. And this is where APIs come in. This is where AI runs behind the scenes. It generates reports automatically. It drafts proposal, analyzes data, it updates systems. We also use it to summarize call. We use it to answer customer questions, trigger workflows. So this is where AI becomes part of the infrastructure and your business starts to operate with intelligence. Speed, consistency, scalability should be your focus if you are at this level, because it can really help you get to the actual next stage, which is the feedback loops. And this is where we reach the level of that only a few companies are, a very small percentage, which is where AI systems learn continuously from your operation. So it's not a one of like I feed the data, I feed the knowledge base, and then I get back results. It's ongoing. And this is with every interaction with AI, it makes the system smarter. The outputs get better all the time, because they are informed by real performance and real user behavior. And this is a level of Netflix recommendation engines, for example. Netflix sees what you see, what you like, and suggests similar things, or it actually even changes the movies. I don't know if you know about that, but actually Netflix can take away scenes from certain movies depending on the user behavior, or Amazon pricing algorithms, and all the nice stuff that we see from the big players out there. But at this stage, AI is not just automating your workflow; it is optimizing it, evolving it on its own without the human intervention at this point. And this is the holy grail of AI adoption. This is where we all dream to be. And the companies that get to go to be at level 4 will create a massive long-term advantage. So the thing is that at the moment, 90% of companies plateau at level 2. They don't go past that. And they treat AI rather like a tool rather than a workflow transformation. Level 3 and 4 require new processes, new roles. It's not easy to go there. You need to create new decision systems within your company. So, there's big opportunities for the ones who will get there first. Now, your data is your deepest competitive advantage. Not enough companies understand that. And actually, if you were not the type of company that was collecting a lot of data before, you were not really data driven, you should start collecting data right now, because this is what you will feed to your unique AI systems. So you need to do that now if you have not been doing that. Again, because data, it is going to be your biggest competitive advantage. Like we said, everyone can use the same tools, but not everyone has the same amount or quality of data. So data quality equals AI quality. So trash in, trash out, as we like to call it. But the thing is that we rarely discuss about the data maturity. It is a term, but not a lot of companies have that in mind. Data has always been important. Don't get me wrong. It's just that now is the differentiator. So there are 3 different realities of how companies usually deal with data, and every company in the world today sits somewhere in this spectrum. So in the top, we have companies that are just beginning their data journey. So usually if you talk with decision makers from these companies, they say things like, yeah, we collect some data, we think they are reliable, but we hope they are reliable, we're not sure. And yes, we have a few ways of collecting data, but it's not very clear. This is not a good place to be at the moment, because it's a starting place. Every company that is in this place shouldn't be in this place, even before AI, because data are being used before AI even existed. But these companies here cannot build strong AI systems at all. They're standing in incomplete foundations. In the middle row, we have a stage that represents companies who have become to realize the power of their own data. They know how much unique data they can generate. They understand their data is trustworthy. And these companies are in the early stages of AI advantage, right? Because they can fine-tune models, they can automate core businesses, and the separation from the rest of the companies begins. And then bottom row, we have the companies that dominate their industries in the AI era. We have large volumes of data, proprietary data, data competitors cannot access. We have high reliability. We have a robust, scalable way of collecting the data, and the breakthrough AI systems are born when you are at this level. This is where AI becomes your real competitive advantage. No one can replace you. No one can replace your data sets. You have unique access to your customer behavior, your internal knowledge, operational insights, and be what is in the red box, actually. So you need to be that company, because AI models are being commodified anyways. Your data will never be commodified. This is the reality that every leader must understand. Not all industries and not all departments adapt to AI in the same speed, and that speed creates structural competitiveness. So, for example, we see how much of our current offering can be replaced by automating with Gen AI, and how much AI can improve our competitive position. Where do these two meet? This is what tells you how rapidly your function or your industry will move from level A1 to 4. But we have the slowest to benefit, which is the fast-moving consumer goods category, because AI can support marketing, forecasting, logistics, absolutely. But the core offering, the physical product, cannot be replaced by AI. AI, yes, it can optimize some processes in the production of these products, but it's not as fast as with everything else that AI can impact. And the margins are tight, and innovation cycles are slower. The competitive lift here is moderate. These companies, yes, they will adopt AI, but incrementally. The runway is long, the transformation curve is slow. The middle cluster is where services, sales, software, and online education are. And, here AI can really replace a notable portion of the offering. Is with content creation, onboarding, documentation, customer touch points, coding assistance, customer support as well. So, AI can meaningfully improve output quality, velocity, personalization, which is very important in today's marketing landscape, and help with scale. These industries are already accelerating. They're moving from level 1 to 4 very, very fast, I would say, because both sides of the equation are aligned. They have high replaceability and high competitive upside at the same time. And the top right is the fastest to transform marketing and online services. I am also a marketer, and I'm seeing that in our work. And why are we here? It's because nearly everything in this category is digital, can be replaced with AI, you can automate it, it's scalable and measurable. Everything you need to use AI and replace large portion of the execution work. What execution work are we replacing? We are replacing content creation, targeting, research, reporting, optimization, all of the nice stuff. But most importantly, here is where AI can dramatically elevate performance with hyper-personalization, multivariant testing, data-driven creativity, but in a fast way, in a very efficient way, having intelligent agents running complete workflows. Velocity here is amazing, and departments of this, like the marketing departments, experience the fastest leap through the AI maturity levels. So what I want to keep from that is that the real question for every leader is, where does your organization sit today, and where do you want it to be? You don't necessarily have to go to level 4, not at all. This is not what the point of this is. But you need to decide where you want to be. And if you operate in the top right, your opportunity and your threat is immediate. If you operate in the bottom left, you have more time and also more risk of stagnation. So this is not about predicting the future at all, but it's about showing your acceleration curve and helping you position your teams ahead of that. AI's greatest gift is not automation, contrary to what a lot of people believe, but it is amplification. So, combining AI with human creativity and strategy, this is where AI unlocks what was previously impossible and inefficient. So, this is where innovation truly begins. AI usually has two modes. Actually, we have two modes of using AI. It's either as an executor or a thought partner or a collaborator. So execution provides speed. Collaboration is transformative if you use it as a thought partner. And the real power comes from knowing when to use what. It's not one or the other. Although, like I said, most people are just using it as an executor. So the uncomfortable truth is no matter what we say, your organization is not designed to work with Gen AI. Most organizations are not, because it's structurally impossible to use AI throughout the processes. They are incompatible because AI did not exist. And that's not because of technology usually, it's because of outdated processes. Outdated now. Now they have become outdated. They were not outdated before. AI adoption requires new workflows designed from the beginning with AI in mind, new structures, new cultural norms, new mindset. And this is why we are doing this session today anyways. It's about choosing the correct AI approach, because not every problem needs Gen AI. So you need to ask the correct questions. What is the cost of being wrong? Do we need to be able to explain the decisions? Do the models need consistency, right? Do we have verified data to use? Can the model learn from real operational conditions or not yet? Where are we today? This is the strategic side of the AI leadership that every leader needs to have in mind. Here's a mistake I see in almost every organization right now. Everyone wants to use a Gen AI for everything. And like I said before, they shouldn't. It's not necessary. So here's the truth. Gen AI is powerful, but is not always the right tool. Choosing the wrong approach can lead to unnecessary risk and wasting your resources and giving you outcomes you cannot explain, you cannot control. Sometimes that means you cannot use. So all of this work, all of this effort is for nothing. So this table gives you a simple executive level framework to know which AI approach fits which problem. So for example, let's start with what is the cost of being wrong. This is the first and most important question at the end of the day. The cost is where we should start from because budgets are not infinite. So if we're talking about writing drafts, creating ideas, summarizing, brainstorming, the cost of being wrong is very low. Gen AI is fantastic for that. If we're talking about pricing, interest rates, credit scoring, fraud detection, decisions about regulation and important things, then the cost of being wrong is very high. You cannot rely on Gen AI alone, at least on Gen AI alone. So you need something stable, something that you can explain and determine your decision based on that. So econometrics and rule-based automation dominate high-risk environments, right? So then do you need to explain the decisions? This is where many executives make the wrong choice. Gen AI are black boxes. So how do you explain in a way that regulators actually can trust what you're explaining if you're using Gen AI that is a black box? If your industry requires transparency in finance, healthcare, insurance, compliance, all of these industries, then your approach towards AI should be different, right? Then the question about, do your models need to generate the same answers all the time, repeatability as we call it. Gen AI doesn't provide repeatable answers. It bases the results based on probability, in a way, just to simplify things. So it doesn't give the same answer twice, let's call it like that. That is part of its strength for creativity, but also it's a bad thing if you want it for payroll, invoicing. You cannot have variability when it comes to that. You need very strict consistency. And then, does your data have a source of truth? This is a very essential filter. If your problem has a ground truth, something that is unquestionably correct, like a transaction record or a sensor reading or something legally defined, then automation will produce safer outcomes. But Gen AI works best when there is no single truth, when the task requires synthesis, creativity, interpretation, explanation. But if you have one source of truth, then obviously you can use AI for it, but it's not necessary. Does your training data need to reflect real conditions? Yes, this is the answer here is tricky, because if your training data does not match the environment you are deploying into, for example, rare events or unusual patterns or highly dynamic markets, Gen AI may fail or hallucinate. On the other hand, it can excel when you need stability over, raw predictive power. So the truth is that AI is only smart as the knowledge you give it is, and that knowledge has to live somewhere. And this is what we call a vector database. So a vector database, in simple terms, is a database that stores text chunks, pieces of your documents, PDFs, emails, actually not just texts, but anyways, important information, and converts them into mathematical representation that are called vectors. Why vectors? It's because vectors allow AI to understand meaning and similarity. It's not just keywords, it's about meaning, actual meaning. So instead of searching for words like Google, it searches for concepts like similar to a human, right? It's very, very important. And why does this matter for your business? This is because it creates a competitive advantage. A vector database will allow your AI assistant to remember your policies, to understand your tone of voice, your product details, all your procedures in every single detail. And without this, your AI is generic. With it, your AI becomes your organization's brain. So I'd like to close with that. Most people think AI as a solution or a chatbot or a prompt, but in reality, AI is a pipeline. An AI-powered system is a pipeline that can coordinate the dance between multiple components, that each of them plays a very specific role. So, you need to dance this dance, right? Thank you for being here. And this is the one message I want to leave you with. AI is here to amplify you. Don't forget that the future belongs to organizations that learn fast, adapt boldly, and can execute with intelligence. So this is from panic to power. This is the shift, and it starts with you. Thank you so much, and let's connect on LinkedIn.